talking about Rhoda. Talking about Rhoda.
Huh?
Talking about Rhoda.
I do. This is
Oh.
No.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
We can get that one.
We turn it back.
And she voted against it.
He's doing some stuff with cold water.
Only time
I drink that cold, only time I drink cold water is if I eat out, because I don't want to buy water, so I drink that water and put that next to it. Out in the ocean. I don't buy anything. At least you don't know why I'm racing.
Yeah, I know that other thing, but that was, you were right on that.
Good evening, and welcome to the September 27th meeting of the regular session of City Council. If you're here tonight and would like to address council, please register with staff in the lobby. And please indicate item I, matters germane to the City Council, if the item you wish to speak to is not on the agenda. We have a light system on our podium. After you give your name and address, the green light will appear. At the end of 2 minutes, the yellow light. At the end of 3 minutes, the red light, and we ask then that you promptly take your seat. The City Code identifies the procedure for citizen participation regarding items on tonight's council agenda and provides the opportunity for citizens to address City Council on matters that are germane to the business of council. Matters that are germane to the business of council means matters that the City Council by law is empowered to act upon. This does not include announcements that are personal to you, your business, or your organization, including campaign information. Copies of the city ordinance regarding citizen participation can be found at the desk in the lobby. And if you intend to address City Council this evening, please pick up and review a copy of that ordinance. We also ask at this time if you would silence your phones. And prior to the beginning of the business portion of the meeting, Father George Cheros from St. Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church will provide an invocation to the council. Afterwards, Councilwoman Woodbury will lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance. It is the practice of City Council members to stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Those who also wish to stand are welcome, but are under no obligation to do so. Father Cheros.
Let us pray. O Lord, whose power is beyond compare and glory is beyond understanding, whose mercy is boundless and love for us ineffable, look upon us this evening and upon this meeting of the Newport News City Council. Grant each one of us abundant mercy. Shine in our hearts, O loving Master, the pure light of your divine knowledge, and open the eyes of our minds, that we may all comprehend the message of your gospel. Remember, Lord, the city in which we live, every city and country, and the faithful who live in them. Remember those who do charitable work and those who serve. May the blessing and the mercy of the Lord be with all of us. Amen.
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 Please join me in honoring our country's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father. I would now like Fire Chief Johnson and Active Fire Marshal Chief Center and Public Education Coordinator Lisa King to please join me at the podium. So this is a proclamation for fire prevention, and we're going to read this and then present this to our chief. Whereas the City of Newport News is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all individuals living in and visiting our city, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at the greatest risk of fire. And whereas home fires kill more than 2,580 people in the United States in 2020, according to the National Fire Prevention Association. And the fire departments in the United States responded to 356,500 home fires. And whereas smoke alarms sense smoke well before people can, alerting one to the danger in the event of a fire in which there may be as little as 2 minutes to escape safely. And whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape route and have working smoke alarms are more prepared and therefore will be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas Newport News residents should make sure everyone in the home understands the sounds of smoke alarms and knows how to respond, including those with sensory or physical disabilities. And whereas should a home catch fire, residents should get out and stay out, never going back inside the home for people, pets, or things. And whereas the City of Newport News first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas the 2022 Fire Prevention Week theme, Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape. This effectively serves to remind us of the importance of having a fire escape plan. So now, therefore, I, McKinley L. Price, Mayor of the City of Newport News, do hereby proclaim October the 9th through the 15th of this year as Fire Prevention Week and encourage all citizens of the City of Newport News to support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Newport News Fire Department.
Thank you. Good evening. On behalf of the Newport News Fire Department, I want to thank Mayor Price and the City Council for their support of National Fire Prevention Week and the Newport News Fire Department's work in reducing risk in our community. Our Community Risk Reduction Division, along with our station personnel, work daily to provide educational programs and activities designed to educate the public on reducing risk. The theme, Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape, is a reminder to have a home escape plan that you practice regularly as a family. We hope our community will join us in this initiative to reduce fire-related injuries and fatalities. Also, we hope to see everyone at our family fire safety event on Saturday, October 8th. There are brochures out on the table at Fire Station 6 from 10:30 to 3. And this year we will have our first business safety fair on Wednesday, October 12th from 11 to 2 p.m. The event will focus on workplace safety and hope to see many of you. Thank you again.
Thank you again. Okay, we are now at public hearings. Item E1 is a request to adopt an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to execute any and all documents related to an assignment of the remaining term of the city-owned Seafood Industrial Park Parcel 8C, leased from Blue Harvest Marine Services, LLC, to Wanchese Fish Company, Incorporated, and improving an amendment to the assigned lease to extend the expiration of the lease of Parcel 8C to September the 30th, 2026. Blue Harvest Marine Services, LLC, or Blue Harvest, the current lessee of the Seafood Industrial Park Parcel 8C, has requested the City Council approval of the assignment of its existing lease with an amendment for an additional 1 year and 11 months to Wenchie's Fish Company. Wenchie's is a subsidiary of the international seafood firm Cook Seafood. Wenchie's is the approved tenant of SIP Parcel 3 and desires to expand in Newport News by locating its growing fleet of 21 ocean-going trawlers and seafood landing operations to CIP, at CIP. Wenchie's, or Wenches, I'm not sure of the pronunciation, will expand seafood landings employment and taxable personal property within the SIP. Blue Harvest will be the guarantor of the parcel AC lease with Wenches. The city manager recommends approval. There are no, one speaker? Okay. For questions only. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Well, since Doreen is here, can you tell us which pronunciation it is?
Wanchese.
Wanchese.
I was close.
Thank you.
I was close.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no discussion, please call the roll.
Mayor
We have to
Price.
close the public hearing.
4. Say again?
We have to close the public hearing.
I'm sorry.
We already,
This is
I didn't hear
closing.
that vote, I'm sorry.
Close the public hearing. We've had the motion and
We
the
have a
second,
motion
right?
and a second.
Okay.
Councilwoman Scott. 4. Councilwoman Vick.
4.
Councilwoman Woodbury.
4.
Vice Mayor Cherry. 4. Councilman Harris.
4.
Councilman Jenkins.
4.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Price.
4.
Councilwoman Scott. 4. Councilwoman Vick.
4.
Councilwoman Woodbury.
4.
Vice Mayor Cherry. 4. Councilman Harris.
4.
Councilman Jenkins. 4. Motion carried, 7-0.
Item 2 is a request to adopt an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to execute any and all documents related to an assignment of the remaining term of the city-owned Seafood Industrial Park Parcel C, leased from Blue Harvest Marine Services LLC to Wanchese Fish Company, and approving an amendment to the assigned lease to extend the expiration of the lease of Parcel 7 to September the 30th of 2026. Blue Harvest Marine Services LLC, the current leasee of the Seafood Industrial Park of Parcel 7, has requested the City Council approval of the assignment of its existing lease with an amendment for an additional 1 year and 11 months to Wanchese Fish Company. Wanchese is a subsidiary of the international seafood firm Cook Seafood, and Wanchese has approved, is the approved tenant of the SIP Parcel 3. The desires to expand locating in the SIP their growing fleet of ocean-going trawlers and seafood landing operations. So Blue Harvest will be the guarantor of the Parcel 7 lease with Wanchese, and the city manager also recommends approval of this. There is also still one speaker for questions only, Jim Kleinfelter. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Price.
4.
Councilwoman Scott. 4. Councilwoman Vick.
4.
Councilwoman Woodbury.
4.
Vice Mayor Cherry. 4. Councilman Harris.
4.
Councilman Jenkins. 4. Motion carried, 7-0.
Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Price.
4.
Councilwoman Scott. 4. Councilwoman Vick.
4.
Councilwoman Woodbury.
4.
Vice Mayor Cherry. 4. Councilman Harris.
4.
Councilman Jenkins. 4. Motion carried, 7-0.
Item E3 is a request to adopt an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to execute any and all documents, including real estate contracts and deeds, necessary to effectuate the conveyance of city-owned properties located at 1215 and 1219 Hampton Avenue to B&A Developers, LLC. Approval is requested for the conveyance of 2 surplus city-owned undeveloped parcels located at this address. B&A Developers, LLC intends to combine the 2 lots and construct a new single-family home on the combined site. The potential sale has been circulated for interdepartmental review, and no objections to the conveyance were received. The purchase price of the lots is the combined assessed value of $21,100. The city manager recommends approval. I see that there are no speakers. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Price.
4.
Councilwoman Scott.
4.
Councilwoman Vick.
4.
Councilwoman Woodbury.
4.
Vice Mayor Cherry.
4.
Councilman Harris.
4.
Councilman Jenkins.
4.
Motion carried 7-0.
Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Move it up.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Price.
4.
Council.
City manager to execute any and all documents, including deeds necessary to effectuate the conveyance of city-owned property located at 1221 30th Street to Maxwell Realty LLC. Approval is requested for the conveyance of a surplus city-owned undeveloped parcel located at this address. By combining 1221 30th Street to its adjacent lot of 1219 30th Street, Maxwell Realty will eliminate an existing encroachment on the city parcel by the structure on its lot. The potential sale has been circulated for the interdepartmental review, and no objections of the conveyance were received. The purchase price of the 25 by 100 foot lot is assessed value of $5,300. The city manager recommends approval. There are no speakers. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Price.
4.
Councilwoman Scott.
4.
Councilwoman Vick.
4.
Councilwoman Woodbury.
4.
Vice Mayor Cherry.
4.
Councilman Harris.
4.
Councilman Jenkins.
4.
Motion carried 7-0.
Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Price.
4.
Councilwoman Scott.
4.
Councilwoman Vick.
4.
Councilwoman Woodbury.
4.
Vice Mayor Cherry.
4.
Councilman Harris.
4.
Councilman Jenkins.
4.
Motion carried 7-0.
We are now at the consent agenda. Item F contains the following items: minutes of the special meeting of September 13th, minutes of the work session of September the 13th, minutes of the regular meeting of September the 13th, and a resolution adopting the 2022 Hampton Roads Hazard Mitigation Plan, a resolution expressing the approval of the Hampton Newport News Community Services Board State Biennial Fiscal Year 2022 and 2023, performance contract renewal and revisions. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda for items F1 through F5, all inclusive?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Price.
4.
Councilwoman Scott.
4.
Councilwoman Vick.
4.
Councilwoman Woodbury.
4.
Vice Mayor Cherry.
4.
Councilman Harris.
4.
Councilman Jenkins.
4.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, item G1, Madam Manager.
Yes. I don't believe the bid documents are here yet, so I can skip through the first two if you'd like.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. Item G3 is a request to approve a resolution endorsing the city's partnership with Urban Strategies, Inc. in FY 2022 Promise Neighborhoods competition and authorizing and directing the city manager to execute any and all related documents, and I recommend approval.
Hey, there are no speakers. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Price.
4.
Councilwoman Scott.
4.
Councilwoman Vick.
4.
Councilwoman Woodbury.
4.
Vice Mayor Cherry.
4.
Councilman Harris.
4.
Councilman Jenkins.
4.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, we're going to go to appropriations, page H, item H, Madam Manager.
We have one item, and it's a request to approve a resolution appropriating $2,625,000 from the fiscal year 2023 general bond authorization, streets and bridges category for transportation safety improvement programs, and I recommend approval.
Is there a motion to approve item H1?
So moved.
Second?
Moved in second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Price.
4.
Councilwoman Scott. 4. Councilwoman Vick.
4.
Councilwoman Woodbury.
4.
Vice Mayor Cherry.
4.
Councilman Harris.
4.
Councilman Jenkins. Motion carried 7-0.
We are waiting on some documents for the presentation of the first two. So until then, we're going to open up for citizens' comments. And I'm going to call the names as presented to me. Pam Hall.
May I just say, I want everybody to know that Pam came all the way from downtown, and if she can make it up here, many of you all can make it down there.
Good evening. My name is Pam Hall, and I live in the Southeast community. I am not against the campus concept for the Southeast Community Resource Area. I, along with over 400 petitioners, continue to stand against moving Huntington to 28th Street and Orchid Avenue. Quinn Evans stated the design could be flipped, and we would like to keep the continuity of the legacy on the same site, even if a brand new building will replace the current structure. I still await the results of the study showing the impact on the Southeast community of no recreational space for the next 3 years or more. Rekindle democracy, and I pray the will of the people will prevail. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Joan Marinac. Hi, how are you?
I'm Joan Menorick, and I live at 114 Lynbrook Drive. It is great to be back at a city council meeting. I can't make it downtown as easily as I could when I was younger, not much younger though, but it's really good to see you all here. I was especially pleased and fortunate to hear Michael Pawlowski's presentation on what's happening in the parks in Newport News. I love our parks, and it's really great to see all the upgrades and things happening with them, along with the other things. And I'm thrilled that the depot is really working and open for everyone. The one thing that is missing as I look around the community center, which I dearly love and use a lot, is we need a swimming pool. We were promised in 2008 it would come to up to the community center. I'm sort of glad we didn't get it in 2008 because a lot of things have happened with water parks and swimming pools in the intervening years. And they were talking about splash parks and water parks. Things would be great entertainment, not only for kids, but for us adults that love to play in the water. I can't tell you all the benefits of swimming. It is well known for everyone from the very youngest to the very oldest, for exercise, for fun, and to help with aching joints and knee problems. The one thing that I think would be of most benefit is that children could learn how to swim. We live in an area that's completely surrounded by water, and our kids have no way to learn how to swim. They can't necessarily afford the Y, and up here there's no place for children to swim. It is amazing that we live in a place surrounded by water and we have no safe place to swim. It would be a great benefit, and it could be part of a school program for the children to learn how to swim. Thank you very much, and thanks for coming up here.
And good to see you.
Indeed, wear your glasses. I don't recognize you without your glasses.
Lasers, I had to have surgery.
Lindell Lewis.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Lindell Lewis. I live at 320 Sattler Drive in Newport News, Denby. And I'm glad you called me in this order because the lady who spoke before, I can just ditto what she said. I too am before you today to encourage the council to consider swimming pool as an extension of this community center. I'm of the age, I've been here since 1975, and so Mayor Frank promised it to us when he opened this center that a swimming pool would be part of the building structure, and of course we don't have that. And I also echo that this would be an excellent opportunity for children to learn to swim, more activities for our kids in this particular area of the city. And we do have a swimming pool in Midtown, and in the one city concept, I think that a swimming pool here would be a good merger with the swimming pool at Midtown for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Willard Maxwell.
Hello, my name is Willard Maxwell, and my address is 359 Beachmont Drive, Newport News, Virginia, 23608. I am definitely in support of having a swimming pool here. I'm a former lifeguard, swimming instructor, and aquatic director when I was in Atlanta, and it's always good for exercise. Not only is it good for the children to learn how to swim, but it's also good for the elderly to have low impact exercise that's better on their joints. You see that at One Life, you see it at the YMCA, and it would just be good to have that here, especially since we have one in Central, we have one in the Southeast. Can y'all just love us too? All right, bye-bye. Thank you.
Well, can I ask you one question, Maxwell? What job have you not done?
I knew you were gonna say that. Hey, look, and thank y'all for voting for my land piece. I didn't even know it was on the agenda. Thank you.
Well, you were you've been out when I came to your church. You had been an educator, financial, real estate. I'm like, what have you not? Now a lifeguard.
I do want to correct you on one thing. The Central District does not have a swimming pool. That's in the South District.
It's in the North-South. Aaliyah Johnson.
How y'all doing? Hi. My name is Lydia Johnson. I live at 8 Princess Anne Circle, Newport News, 23608. I have two things I want to address the City Council about. Y'all have built 2 bridges in Denby, and not one of those bridges exit to 64. You still have to go past Walmart or go past Fort Eustis to get to 64, and I just was wondering why they wasn't designed to go on to 64, going to either north or south. My second concern is that we had a meeting at Rich Neck Elementary School the other night, and Charles Stammer, we just found out that for 5 years there's been development going on where they're going to tear down the Aztec restaurant and build a Wawa gas station. And next door going to be a Chick-fil-A. Well, we have almost 6 gas stations on Jefferson, and it's very, very congestive in the evening. When you're trying to get out in the morning, you can't, because we have people going into Fort Eustis. In the evening, between 4 and 6 o'clock, you can't get out past that red light. There's always accidents on that corner of Buchanan and Jefferson because the traffic. The traffic is back from Denby all the way to Rich Neck. And to have 2 more businesses put in that block will cause more problems. This is a very, very safe area. I've been in that area for 30 years, and rarely did we have any crimes in that area. And to put more businesses in there, we have flood problems, flooding. I mean, really, when water is bad, it's really, really bad. And I was amazed that I got a letter in the mail the other day from Waterworks. I was like, well, 30 years I've been here. Now you want to do something because you're bringing in new businesses? Now you want to work on the drainage? When we've been getting flooded for years and asking for help and nobody came out there. We also have a problem with the school, with the traffic, because you working on Rich Neck, nobody's finished Rich Neck, so we get that traffic that's want to get to Rich Neck or coming off Rich Neck, and when the buses are trying to stop for the kids, you know, there was a kid hit out there trying to cross over. We asked for a speed bump, never got it. The buses have a problem getting the children and getting down there. So I just don't understand why why some work being done on our water after 30 years of being in that area because of this new business. And we just found out that this has been in the making for 5 years. We were just alerted last week. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mildred Bird.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Mildred Bird. My address is 2312 William Styron Square, Newport News, 23606. Many of you have seen me for a while. The reason I'm speaking tonight is on a subject that I love dearly, and that is swimming. I stand before you requesting that a pool is built here at the Denby Community Center. It's a commitment that I've been told that was made over 10 years ago, that phase 2 of this center would be to build an aquatic center. So what has changed? Do you still care and believe the Denby community even deserves a pool? Why is it that the Denby Aquatic project still has no beginning or completion date? Even though Denby is separate from other areas of Newport News, resources should still be equal. Please discontinue denying the Denby community of a pool. Pools were not available to blacks in Gloucester in the 60s. Therefore, I learned to swim at age 6 in the York River with crabs nipping at my toes and getting stung by jellyfish constantly. In 2022, the Denby children should have the option to enjoy water safety and fun without those concerns. I now enjoy lap swimming at the Midtown Community Center. I observe the people of all ages driving in, being dropped off, and taking advantage of this pool. A pool in Denby would be more convenient, beneficial, and enjoyable for all of its citizens. Please complete the project and build the pool. As a retired principal of an elementary school, my word to my staff and students was my bond, and I honored my commitments. With great anticipation, we look forward to you honoring the commitment of building a pool here in Denby. Your aquatic mission statement for the Midtown pool states, the aquatic division will protect lives, promote health, and provide opportunities. We are asking for the same aquatic mission here in Denby. I would like to thank Councilwoman Sharon Scott for consistently making pool availability in Denby a priority for her constituents. We are asking the entire council to do the same. I love your motto. It says, one city, one vision. Please complete this vision. Build Denby a community pool. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure our light system is functioning, so, but we will move on. I also ask for your understanding. We're still waiting on some critical documents, and so we will have to rejoin the agenda as printed. But right now I'm going to go to, because that's the last of the citizen comments that I have, we're going to go to new business. Madam Manager.
Nothing at this point.
Mr. Attorney.
Nothing, sir.
Madam Clerk.
None, sir.
Okay. Councilwoman Woodbury.
I understand the need for a pool, and I know that the city manager is working on that. I would love one in Central District as well. But I know Midtown is nearby, but it's not near for me. I think it's a real important thing, but I also want to remember that when Madeline McMillan, who was one of our council members for several years, many years, proposed a pool when this place was being built. And I know that at that time, as I recall, because I was at the meeting, Councilwoman Scott voted against it. So I know that it's a priority for her now, but at that point it wasn't. I hope that what you will do is like I do. I trust that our city manager has this issue right in front of her, and she is working on it. So I am going to trust that she will do something about it and make sure that it happens. May not be exactly the way you think, but a pool will be coming. Thank you all for being here tonight and for expressing yourselves. I love it if you come down when we meet downtown, and I hope that we can meet up here more often. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Cherry.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming this evening, and we appreciate you being here. It's exciting to be in the Denby part of the city, so we'd like to say welcome to everybody. I'd like to thank the Habitat for Humanity. We had a groundbreaking today for a family downtown, and it was really nice to have their testimony of moving from New York and never anticipating being able to be homeowners, but today we had groundbreaking for their home. That is really exciting. So I do want to say thank you to Habitat for Humanity for all the work that you do, as well as last Saturday we had a home blitz where we had a partnership with Hampton, and 14 homes, some in Newport News and some in Hampton, were worked on with the labor of volunteers. So also kudos to Habitat for Humanity for their home repair blitz, because the residents, and we got some testimonies from them, was able to go around and visit with some of them as their homes were being repaired, or whatever, fences repaired, doors, shutters painted. It was just phenomenal. And they were all excited and very thankful. So I do want to say thank you to all that Habitat does for our community. Congratulations to Fire Chief Johnson and all of your staff on Fire Prevention Week. Fire won't wait, plan your escape. That's pretty neat. That's pretty good. So thank you so much for all that you all do for our community. To address the concern that I have with the Denby pool, I was not here as a council person when that decision was made or talked about. I did attend the work sessions, and I know that there was a lot of conversation around it years ago. And Councilwoman Scott has been very, she has been a push to make sure that that promise that she made to the residents comes to pass. Where do we go from here? How do we handle the building of a pool here at Denby Community Center? And we just had a wonderful plan, a concept plan presented to us today about the Denby Ward plan with the Sherwood Shopping Center. And so the question still comes to my mind, where do we go from here? I believe with faithful anticipation that we're going to be able to one day have a pool at Denby Community Center as we look at what is the maximum benefit that we can get in the city right now. We are in need of a new library. We are in need of a new police station, a new fire station. Those are the things that also impact maximum people. And so we need to look at that. What is it going to be that we expend those dollars or appropriate funds for right now that's going to provide a maximum benefit for more people? And so I think it's something that we can continue to have conversation around, not just have conversation around it, but also look at how do we get to where the next step is to have a pool here at Denby Community Center. I heard someone say it's a crime for children not to know how to swim. That means a lot to me, because I did, when I was growing up years ago, we learned how to swim at the Magruder pool. So we learned through the church, and swimming is important to me, even though I have a tremendous fear of water. I took swimming 3 times and still swim like a rock, go to the bottom and don't float. But I think it's really important for those of you who have learned how to swim, and I would love to learn how to swim. I think that the pool would be an asset to this community center. So I believe that we can anticipate that something great is going to happen as we continue to move forward to build up the Denby community. Thank you.
Okay, this is just to make sure you're keeping up. We're going to pause here. The council and go back to the agenda. Item G1, Madam Manager.
It's a request to receive and open bids for granting a utility easement over city-owned property located at 425 Industrial Park Drive to facilitate construction of a new electrical charging station for the City of Newport News Waterworks Lee Hill site. Lee Hall.
Found a new one. Okay, please accept this bid of $1 from Dominion Energy. Item 2, G2, Madam Manager.
Yes. The second one is also a request to receive and open bids for granting a utility easement over city-owned property located at 1710 Ivy Avenue to facilitate electrical power distribution to the new Choice Neighborhood Initiative housing.
Get it closer to her. She loves that sound. Only 95 more days. Okay. Please accept this bid of $1 from Dominion Energy. All righty. Does that take care of it?
That's it, sir.
Thank you. We will now continue with council members. Councilman Harris.
Oh, and yes, good evening to everyone, and I am excited to see everyone out here as we changed our venue tonight here in the Denby area, Uptown Newport News, is what all my young people like to say. First, I just want to acknowledge the administration at Dutrow Elementary School, right across the street, as they celebrated their first PTA event in person since COVID has happened, and they had a dance for the young people from kindergarten through 5th grade. And it was exciting to see those young people dancing around and running all over the place, and the teachers out there engaged with the kids and the families, and it was just exciting to see somewhat of a semblance of how things were pre-COVID in the school system, and just the enjoyment of and the fellowship of the young people together with their families, friends, and teachers and staff members at Dutrow. So thank you for having a great event this past Thursday. And anyone who knows me knows that I am an advocate for recreational activities, programs for our young people and seasoned adults in our communities. And I always have been one that has been trying to advocate for what we can do to better our fields, any recreational opportunities that we could provide for our young people, because being in some of the positions that I've been able to sit, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to try to navigate through some of the challenges that it takes to be able to have these opportunities and provide opportunities for young people, and like I said, our seasoned citizens in our community. So being that we've been talking about a pool, for the past couple of years at least, I know I've shared information about some of the pools that are private here in the North District, and seeing what we could do to maybe better offer those opportunities for people in our community. And we're still sitting here where we don't have those public opportunities for people to swim. So I'm in full support of what we can do to provide opportunities, pools, uplifting or maintaining the fields, adding lights to those fields so people can play a little bit later in the night instead of having to get kicked off the field because it's too dark for the kids to be out there during certain times of the year. And whatever we can do, I'm going to always be an advocate for it, because I know what recreational opportunities can do for everyone, socially and emotionally, and not just the physical part of it. So I just hope we can find ways to circumvent some of those challenges so that we could have these more opportunities for people here in our city, and of course here in the North District. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Councilman Jenkins.
I just want to take a quick minute and thank Dr. Parker, our superintendent of schools, for doing an excellent presentation today for all candidates running for the school board, the city council, and the mayor's office, to just give them an overview on the schools, how the financing works, and the challenges we have in education in Newport News. Purely informational, but they were able to ask questions, and a lot of good information was shared, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Scott.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have quite a few things, if you all would indulge me. First, to my colleague, Councilwoman Woodbury, I think she needs to read the minutes. If anybody knows, and when I ran for council, I advocated for this community center, for this swimming pool, and if it wasn't for the former late Vice Mayor Charles Allen, this would not happen. He supported this because sure Councilwoman McMillan had advocated for it, but Vice Mayor at that time supported it because I supported some of the things in his district, as I have done. And I'm offended that we're sitting here talking about don't approve the Denby Community Center swimming pool, but I didn't have any trouble supporting the natatorium in the South District. We're going to tear up a swimming pool to build a swimming pool. I didn't say we shouldn't build that swimming pool in the Southeast community because they're advocating for their citizens just like I'm advocating for my citizens in the North District. So I'm offended that one is okay to move forward and the other one is not. And I thank all the citizens from the North District who came down here tonight to speak to this. We had a very lively, interactive meeting last night. There was a gentleman here who came to talk about the swimming pool. He's 77 years old. He said, Councilwoman, if we wait, I would never have an opportunity to have that benefit. And he was talking about all of the things, all of the benefits to him. His wife is disabled, and he said she could use that pool to exercise. So he came last night, only the second time he's ever been to the meeting, but he was real adamant. And Diane Garrison, she arrived a little bit late, didn't get a chance to speak, and I lost your note that you gave me to read, but she is the president of the Homeowners Association at Lee's Mill. She said she has to just about fight off kids who come to swim in the pool because they cannot swim in that pool because it's a private pool. And there are 5 communities in Lee's Mill. I don't know if you all know anything about Lee's Mill or, you know, the content and the amount of people who live there. But she expressed that this pool is very much necessary because the kids, they want to swim, they just don't have the opportunities. And Councilman Harris spoke about us working with private pools. We've been there, done that. We have the minutes to prove it. We have the dollars to prove it. It never worked. The city invested money. When it was time for the citizens to swim, it was always a problem. We never really got the benefit. And I think Madam Manager here has tried it a couple times herself to put money into private pools. So that's not the answer for Denby. Why do we have to wait? We've had one project in 20 years. That's this 2 projects, the ballpark behind us and this community center. That's all we've ever had. But the entire 20 years, going on 21, that I've been on this council, whatever any district wanted for themselves, I wanted it for them. Because it was not my place to decide whether they should have what they said they wanted for their citizens. So I don't see why they're going to say, oh, everything is beautiful and we can do this over here, and everybody can pick and choose what they want for us, but we cannot pick and choose what we want for ourselves. So no, Councilwoman Woodbury needs to read the notes from the minutes going all the way back to 2002. Then she wouldn't be here fabricating, trying to throw shade and disrespect her colleagues. I would never do that. I'm speaking. I am speaking. She would not be doing that if she had read the notes, and she would have her facts straight, and she wouldn't have to sit here and pontificate just because she doesn't want to support it. I'm offended, and I want you to know I'm offended about it. And also, Mr. Pawlowski last night did a great job at the meeting. He showed us what it could be, and Ms. Menard said, she's glad we didn't just get just a pool, because now he showed us what it could be. It could be a pool and something else. And I think that it's time for Denby to have that pool and something else, whatever that something else is. So tonight, I am going to make a motion to amend the proposed CIP to add Denby Community Center's aquatic component, swimming pool, as a line item in the CIP that has already been proposed by Madam Manager so that this project can move forward.
I second the motion.
It's been moved in second. Before we act upon that, just a statement, I would appreciate if we would wait, since we're going to have the CIP presentation in the second meeting in October, as opposed to pulling out one item and acting upon that now. That's just, would be my preference, to hear the whole presentation of the CIP. But there is a motion, there is a second. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, I'll add some discussion, Mr. Mayor. 2 meetings ago, Madam Manager brought this to our attention at the work session, and she gave council the opportunity to make this decision. And we weren't able to make it that day because there were 2 council persons here, Councilman Jenkins and Councilwoman Vick, who said they would support it. No one else did. So we can't keep sitting in the work session and hashing back and forth and never getting to a decision on this community pool. So no, I don't think that we should wait. I think we need to move forward on this vote tonight.
And I'd just like to say, Mr. Mayor, and to Councilwoman Scott, and you can attest to this, yeah, right now I do represent the South District, but I have always supported the Denby Community Center as well as the pool. So I just want the record to reflect that.
And I would just like to say that I, too, think it is wise to do this at the same time that we do the CIP, which is where it belongs. And so far as the vote, I was at the meeting, so I know what the vote was. And at that time, I was supportive of building it when the building was built, because it was the logical time to do it. But right now, I know that the city manager has some other ideas, and I would like her to give her the opportunity to do what she does best, which is run our city.
Any further discussion?
I would like to know, thank you, Councilman Scott, for sharing. Mr. Popolowski shared his view about the pool. Is it, when you all had the conversation last night, was it, you said the pool and something else?
Well, he showed us some possibilities. It was a pool, a 25-meter pool, and like a water play park kind of thing, some variation of what you would see like at Great Wolf Lodge or something, with slides and things, where the way he explained it, which was part of what it was explained from the beginning, that people would be able to have events there, places for like birthday parties, and the swimming pool, of course, so you can swim, but the rest of it will be like a water play park.
Okay, and with that, Madam Manager, and I know you're working on our CIP, I'm not sure where the workings in as far as you speaking to Mr. Popolowski about this water park and something else. Are you able to share anything about that it might go into the CIP?
I believe it was earlier in the summer, maybe even last spring, where council asked for some more information about the options on pools, and you were given that information. I'd have to go back. I don't remember off the top of my head, and frankly, with the what we're seeing with the economy, I can't imagine that those numbers may still be accurate, but it gave you in terms of how much we estimate it would cost for a smaller scale pool that was more social type thing versus a larger pool. And they were ranging somewhere, from what I remember, in about the 10 to 12 or $14 million range.
Okay.
Depending on which option. But I honestly don't remember off the top of my head exactly which version cost how much. It may have even been 8 or 9 million. I'm looking at Lisa and she's kind of nodding too, so.
Okay, and the only last question that I have, Councilwoman Scott, if you're asking, your specific ask is that it be placed into the budget, the CIP?
In the proposed CIP.
In the proposed CIP.
And during the last meeting, Madam Manager said we had $27 million in the Denby Ward plan that we could use toward this pool. So yes, I do want it to be pulled out and put in as a line item out of that $27 million that we already have.
There was 15 million put aside for the Denby Ward plan. I'm not aware of any addition funds to that. It was 15 million that we had put aside.
Whatever that figure was.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't recall, but we had intentionally identified it and have reserved those funds for whatever the project that we wanted, that council wanted to see in the Denby area. And I think the understanding was at that time you wanted to see the Sherwood plan and some other things that we showed you today.
Any further discussion?
I think this is, for me, I think it's tough because I do want to support the pool, and yet I want to see where it will go in the CIP as far as the time frame, where it will fall, as far as being in the budget for the CIP, for the upcoming CIP.
Yeah.
And without having that is difficult.
We can, at your next meeting or in the interim, give you some additional information that we had provided before.
Any further discussion? I just want to make a comment about, the presentation that we just had, and I guess the impact of this on that presentation and that going forward. It would be nice to have the community to have also input after seeing that plan, but that's just me personally. If there's no further discussion.
So what we'll be voting on right now is to put it in
As
the
a line
CIP
item.
as an item, but we don't know what the numbers will look like. So, I mean, that's where we are. We'll see what the numbers will look like during our second meeting in October, correct?
It would come out of the funds that she had already
I
allocated.
mean, I understand
for
that,
the
but I'm
area.
saying we don't know to the extent of what those funds will be. That's what we're saying?
Right. I think it's difficult to take a line item like that without the presentation of the whole CIP and see where it's going to go, what year it's going to go, and the impact it has on the other projects.
We already saw the CIP. We've been seeing it like all year. So I'm not understanding why the CIP looks any different today than it was in the last meeting where the city manager proposed it. On the same CIP, Mr. Mayor, where your natatorium was, this money I'm talking about was on that same CIP where we voted for your natatorium in the South. This same part of money that she had allocated for the Denby work area was on that same CIP. It just wasn't a line item for the swimming pool.
And I just don't remember off the top of my head how much is in there.
And that's what I'm
Different pieces.
asking.
I do know 15 million was set aside for improvements or projects or whatever in the North District.
So if I'm hearing correctly, just want to make sure we're all clear. If we vote to put it in as a line item, not knowing what the cost is going to be, that is going to directly impact the Denby Ward plan that we heard today, as far as trying to move forward with a new library. And so I just want everybody to be aware of that we have had multiple individuals saying that they want a new library. We know we need a new police. We know all of that also is needed for Denby. And so I just want the residents or whoever's listening to know that if we do vote to get a pool and we pull that funds that we may be allocating for that to put to the pool, it may be some time before we get a new, is that police department, precinct, North Precinct, and new library.
I think the library funds were separate. It was in as a line item already.
Can Lisa?
Am I correct, Madam Manager? The library funds.
Yes, there were some.
It's in
library funds
as
put
a line
aside
item
for-
already.
We obviously will have to go back, I said, in this economy and take a look at it. I know that the estimates are coming in higher than what we currently would have in the budget. We'll have to go back and take a look at the plan. I may have to come back to you with some amendments. That's just what we would have to do.
So just point of clarification again.
Yeah.
The second meeting in October, what is planned with the CIP there?
We are required by city code, and I can certainly have Lisa come up if that would be helpful, because I'm sure her memory for the numbers is better than mine. We have got to provide to council a proposed capital improvements plan by the end of October, November 1st. So we will be coming back to you with the plan that goes out for 5 years and adds an additional year on to the plan, as we've done it in the past.
And that will be the second meeting in October?
Yes.
Okay.
But I wish
Any
I could
other
answer
questions?
without going back and taking a look, but we would just have to, from the staff perspective, go back and take a look at the projects and how they're funded and the timing and the schedules, as we've talked today about different phases. But there is $15 million in the plan for Denby Warwick area plant, or whatever council would choose for that project funding.
But we don't know whether or not 15 million is going to be enough to build a swimming pool.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
But we don't know what the cost it will be to build the swimming pool. Can Lisa speak, Madam Manager?
It would depend on the pool and the selection of what you wanted. As I said, we had given a range of different types of opportunities for a pool, from something smaller that's more along the line of a splash pool with maybe a lane or two for swimming, to something larger on not the same scale necessarily as Midtown, but something larger. And I said those estimates would be a few months old, and given issues we're seeing with supplies, those kind of things, I just wouldn't be comfortable necessarily at this point with the numbers without going back. But we'll be happy to do that. We just need to know what you'd like us to do.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Do we know, and I cannot remember, so maybe Lisa can help us. All right, so we're talking about a natatorium for the new Southeast Resource Area. Lisa, or Madam Manager, would you happen to know what the cost of that pool is?
I'm sorry?
The cost for the pool for the natatorium?
I don't have those numbers yet.
We don't have those numbers yet.
No, and I want to correct, I'm going back and forth with Lisa. We do have additional money programmed in the budget, to Councilwoman Scott's point, of about $12 million for the Denby Warwick
For the
plan.
pool, so it's in the budget.
Couldn't hear you.
Yeah, we do have programmed for fiscal year -- an additional $12 million for the Denby Warwick plan implementation.
For the Denby Warwick plan, we didn't.
But that's in '23, which we've just.
There is money there. It isn't designated. Council has not designated what to do with that funding yet for the Denver area.
And what she's asking is, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're asking that it become the line item for that amount.
Exactly. I've said it every way I could say it. Yes, I want it to be a
Well, I
line
just want to
item
make sure I'm
in
clear
the-
on what you're
in
asking
the- In the CIP, instead of it being something that's arbitrary that may or may not even get included. No, it needs to be a line item. Just like the natatorium is a line item in the budget in the South. Why can't the Denby Community Center be a line item in the proposed CIP for the North? I don't think we're asking too much.
I don't know that the natatorium is a line item. It falls just under Southeast Community
No,
Resource
it was a
Area
line
plan.
item. That's how I found out we had a natatorium down there. It was a
No,
line
that was presented as part of the CIP,
Yeah.
but it's a broad category for Southeast Community Resource Area, which as we go through that process, we will plan out and phase projects. Again, I don't have it in front of me, so I'm trying to go from memory.
The only comment I want to make again is that the amount that was designated, which was 12 to 15 million, as I remember, was for council to discuss what they felt was going to be best for the Denby community, whether it was going to be something else that was more generic or more impactful, or a swimming pool. We have not had that discussion. The motion is to make that money a line item for a pool. Is there any further discussion?
So we're making that 15, that designated 15, solely line item, solely for the pool.
That's the motion as I understand.
But that doesn't mean that the pool will be built tomorrow, because it may
Right.
cost more than 15 million. Am I hearing that as well?
And I'm just asking for clarity because I want to see some enhancements to the fields. So you say a certain amount just going to that pool, okay, are we going to also have a certain amount that's gonna go to enhancing fields as well. I mean, I just wanna be clear.
You're not gonna have that. That's what city manager is saying. If she wants all of the funds, and I hear her request, and I hear her heart in that. But if I'm clear, if we designate that as a line item,
Speaking to the mic.
all of those funds go to the pool, and nothing else in the Denby Ward community is going to get done.
I can't tell you, without going back and doing a review of it, how much the pool would cost. The pool may not cost $15 million. I can't, we just have no way of knowing without going back and revisiting it and having harder numbers. Because even as you go through the process, you do estimates, but until it's actually designed and you start construction and go out for bid, it could be less than that, it could be more than that. I just, in this market, can't say.
Mr. Popolowski's, his estimation was less than that last night, Madam Manager, and it was just a guesstimate. Based on what it would have cost if we had built it when we built the community center in 2011 versus what it would be today, he said there would probably be a variation of maybe $3 million.
And I have not seen Mr. Poplowski's numbers.
No, it was a guesstimate. He didn't have any.
Past what he had given you back several months ago. I have not seen any updated numbers.
Well, I wish he was here to give us some conversation over it, but
Well, so if he's not, if what the motion is on the table, can we just go ahead and call for the vote?
I'm trying,
I would like
but
to
we
say-
can't log this still discussion.
I'd like to just ask if we could consider waiting and laying this on the table and waiting until we hear the CIP proposal with the monies to go along with it. Then we have a knowledgeable way of voting and understanding, rather than just blatantly, yes, we'll build it, and we don't know what the funds are. We don't know what is in the CIP yet. It has not been proposed to us, but it will be the second meeting in October. So I would wonder if we could set this aside and table it until after we hear the facts.
I would be happy. I said I just don't have it in front of me. There are various projects throughout the city that are funded in the current CIP with smaller amounts of dollars. I just don't, like I said, have it in front of me that I can quote. I know there was some additional funding for some other projects. We'd have to go back, take a look at those to make sure what we could or could not do to be able to cover whatever it is the council asked us to cover in terms of for the pool. I just don't know. I said it's usually a little simpler, but in this current market and what we are seeing with the supply chain and what we are seeing with the escalation in costs, I can't say without more detailed review and analysis. It could very well be less than 15 million. It could be. At 15 million, it could be more. Again, that will depend on what type of pool that you are looking at and the size and other amenities associated with it.
For the North District.
Across the city, there are other projects, but in your current CIP, which you just saw through the bond authorization, the major project is the middle school for Huntington for $50 million. That's the largest portion of your 23 budget.
So
there were some other smaller projects, but for the most part, that was the majority of your funding in 23.
Okay. Is there any further discussion or comment? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Price.
Against.
Councilwoman Scott.
For.
Councilwoman Vick.
For.
Councilwoman Woodbury.
Against.
Vice Mayor Cherry.
I'm going to vote. Let me say this, because I do support having a pool in the Denby Community Center. I really do. And it's my heart for us to do that. That's why I asked, where do we go from here? Without knowing what the approximate cost is, and I'm sorry that Mr. Popolowski is not here tonight to kind of give us what he gave you all last night, a better idea of what it would possibly entail. And with Councilman Harris asking for lights and other things for Denby Community Center, if we only have one pot of money, to make it a line item specifically for the pool is challenging without having the city manager have an opportunity to go back and work that through. So I'm going to vote, I want to vote for the pool. I do think we need to have a pool here, but I'm going to vote against it because voting in blind without having that capital improvement plan, her being able to go back, figure it out, and then come back and say, yes, this is what we can do. I think that's voting blindly. And so I'm not going to vote for it to be a line item right now. Thank you.
Councilman Harris?
I'm going to vote for, with the understanding that we're going to use, look at some enhancements with that $15 million. Enhancements to other recreational areas as well, as that is a line item. I know I'm talking a lot, but I need to make that on record.
Councilman Jenkins?
For.
Motion carried 4-3.
Okay.
I just want to thank my colleagues for supporting the North District and for recognizing that, you know, we don't ask for much, we don't get a lot, but I think we deserve this, and I'm sure our Madam Manager will work it out as she works it out for the Central District and the South. I hate to sound territorial, but it's no other way to get this done unless we have these discussions like we're doing right now, and that I thought it was important for everybody to know who supports the North District and support what you need in the North District.
Well,
so.
I do support the North District.
But anyways, Mr. Mayor, please indulge me. I have a couple other things. I just want to give kudos to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce who hosted a Hispanic Heritage Celebration at Midtown Community Center on Saturday. It was nothing short of amazing. I mean, it was just such camaraderie and a lot of their music and culture and things. It was a fantastic event. Also, thank everybody again who came to the town hall meeting last night. It was really, really refreshing. It was a lot of conversation, and we've not been able to meet. This is our second meeting since the pandemic in 2019, so it was just good to be able to have that feedback with the citizens last night. You all know I'm on pure adrenaline when we're talking about our district, and last night it was really a jolt for me. Also, Madam Manager, this Rich Neck situation that Ms. Johnson spoke about earlier, that's going in the location where Plaza Azteca was, I had no knowledge of it, and I really feel bad when there are projects that are coming to this city that I don't know about, but I'm told that it hasn't even come to planning. Am I correct?
I don't believe it's yet.
Yes.
It should be maybe at the next meeting.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
it hasn't come to planning. But anyways, it was a big deal last night, and there were some citizens who, this was their first town hall meeting, and they came because of that situation, and they said there was a meeting at the Rich Neck Elementary School. I wasn't aware of the meeting, so I wasn't able to attend, and I would have a better sense of what they were talking about. But I think we do need to be mindful, and in the past, we've always considered what was going on in the community and how it's going to impact that community. So I don't know how we get in at this point other than to wait for it to come to planning. But I would like to, at which time you know more about it, I would like to know more about it so that I can have some intelligent conversation with the citizens. But what I did tell them last evening was oftentimes certain projects can come to the city by right. They can go by zone if it's zoned appropriately. That oftentimes they don't have to come directly to the city, but they are aware that they said this one was a conditional use permit. So, and I don't know who hosted the meeting at the Rich Neck Elementary School last week, but I can get back with you more on that at another time. But I just wanted to make it a point since they brought it up last night. Also, I did speak to Mr. McMillan today just to thank him and all who participated and organized the True Denby Day parade here in Denby last week. It was really fantastic. It was a super nice event. And it seemed like the units just kept coming and coming and coming. At first, it didn't look like there were that many, but it really turned out to be a fabulous day. And during the entire parade, I took credit for the weather, since I don't get to take credit for much. I took credit for the weather for Denby Day. But it was just a fantastic event, and I'm glad that the citizens had an opportunity to come out and enjoy it. So other than that, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Vick.
Oh, yes, I also wanted to say it's good to be in Denby for the meeting. And thank you all for coming out. And I too was concerned about you, Ms. Johnson, as you spoke, and I was going to just see if the staff, if David or whoever could look into the situation for Ms. Johnson, because I am concerned about that. And also, we, again, too, the Denby Day Parade was fantastic. I want to thank the Lions Club, and even our city was a partner. There was I think there was a record number of people out there for this parade, and to have so many of the citizens, and what I felt, they were really excited about coming out because it was such a good parade. Also, a great time after the COVID. So it was good to see the children, you know, collecting the candy on the sides, and everybody with smiles, and so much jubilation for that parade on Saturday. And the groundbreaking for the James River Strand on 26th and West, that was such a great groundbreaking, and to see that that land has been over there for years, but as the company had cleared the trees off, it was nice to be able to look right on that water. And so I can not wait until the amphitheater is built so that we can enjoy bands and concerts and everything out there. So great job with all who was involved in making that happen. The Kiwanis Seafood Festival this past Saturday, I just want to say kudos to that organization. It was such a fabulous event, and the food was delicious, the weather held up, and also to be able to see the various bands that were out there. So many citizens were able to enjoy it. So I thank the Kiwanis Club for actually sponsoring that event. And also it was great enjoying the Habitat groundbreaking on 21st Street today for the Brady family, Tina Brady and her daughter, and they did a magnificent job. But to be able to have the sponsors that were able to make that house a home for them, and I think it was about 4 to 6 months, they will actually have the home. So that was exciting to see, and so good to see all of the hard work the Brady family had put into other people's homes so that this would be their turn to be able to qualify for their Habitat home. And I just want to say my last thing, I'm looking forward to speaking to Dr. Reiske's state and local government class at Christopher Newport University tomorrow. It's always a pleasure to be able to tell our young people what's involved in local government, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you. One of the topics that Ms. Johnson also mentioned was the exiting on 64. Our city is one of 17 localities that meets with the TPO, the Transportation Planning Organization. These projects are rated based on congestion mitigation. That exit wasn't planned until 2034, I think. We have been able to move that project forward, so the funding is coming for it within the near future. There will be at least the exit off, and later will be
Westbound.
westbound.
Yes. That's part of the Denby Bridge project.
So it's not up to us, it's a regional, I think, through the Transportation Department, Highway Department that plans these roads. I also want to piggyback on the James River Strand. It's wonderful to see that area open up and what we're planning and continue to plan for the Yard District. We also at the same time had a walking tour of the Urban Land Institute to get people to understand what's going on in that area, the projects that are available, the original Greek church, which is on the market, just great things that could happen, getting people more interested in that area. I was also able to attend the Hampton University Proton Therapy Institute Men's Health Initiative, where about 8 NFL players were there talking to minority men about getting prostate exams, trying to get over that fear and the myths about prostate cancer and the need for that. So it was great to see that. I think for the first time CNU played the Apprentice School. It's the first time they played. It may be the only time, I don't know, but I had the honor of tossing the coin at that game. It was an exciting game, 38-35. Hopefully they'll get to play again, but it was a great turnout. I was also attended the Clinton Global Initiative, which was in New York. It's the first time they've had that in 6 years, where we were able to look at things that are happening in the world. There is a project, and this was through the African American Mayors Association. 14 mayors were invited to this to look at innovations that are happening, things that are planning with climate control and in the forefront of things that are going on. So there is a move on to decarbonize all the buildings in the country. This one company has been given an $8 million grant to see what it would take for each building in your city to decarbonize it. And what I mean that if you have gas, to turn it to electric. There are 3 cities that have already committed to doing that within the next 5 years: Ithaca, New York, San Jose, and I can't remember the 3rd city. But it's going to be interesting to see how cities begin to decarbonize their buildings, because 30% of the carbon comes from our buildings in our cities. So we're not only interested in the electric engines for cars, which are carbon producers as well, but trying to transform our buildings. So this is something to keep an eye on in the future as well. I also want to recognize September as Sickle Cell Awareness Month, and one of the most important ways we can help is by donating blood. Less than 20% of the blood donations are from people of color, and frequently transfused patients often require blood from donors with similar ethnic backgrounds. So you've heard me talk about organ transplants and organ donation, but also blood is something that we need to insist and hope that we will continue to do more with. And lastly, for my Jewish friends and residents, I want to wish them a happy and healthy New Year as they celebrate their high holidays. With that, if there's nothing else from council. Yes, ma'am.
Just one. I was remiss. I forgot to mention that New Beach Grove, In Touch Ministries, and I are hosting not food. See, I have food on my mind. Donations for Puerto Rico. We have some citizens here in Newport News who have relatives in Puerto Rico who lost everything. One of them was there during the entire storm. She said they had nothing, and now they have even less of the nothing that they had. So New Beach Grove, In Touch Ministries with Dr. Maxwell and I, we are hosting. You can take your donations to New Beach Grove at Beachmont, right behind Wawa. He said new clothes. I said gently used if you have them to spare, because most women, we don't wear our clothes enough for them to be used. So if you have items, and of course this is an island, so he's collecting summer clothes. They need things like Tylenol and Advil and Band-Aids and toiletries, Pampers. They really need Pampers. So anything that you can donate. We're not shipping in the water this time, but Ms. Gloria DeSantos has found a way to get the donations there at no cost, and the city has participated in the past with these, but this time we have a way to get the donations to Puerto Rico. We also have VLH Transportation, who will take all of the collected items to the airport so that they can be flown over to Puerto Rico. So you all give as you can. We are just so blessed here in this area not to have as much devastation from hurricanes and tropical storms that caused us to be without. And I was there in 2019. They had not even recuperated from the previous hurricane that destroyed their area. So whatever you all can give, go to New Beach Grove and drop your items there, please. Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah. I did want to, in consultation with council, my vote wasn't clear on the pool. I vote for the pool, in favor of the pool. Thank you.
Anything else from council? If not, what may you say and do uplift the city of Newport News? We stand adjourned.